With the first of the Giants' six-round picks, New York went with Bobby Jamison-Travis, a defensive tackle out of Auburn. Look, we all understood the Giants and understand that the Giants need help on the defensive line. Dexter Lawrence with the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Giants did not get Caden McDonald. They did not get Kristen Miller. They did not address the defensive line room until pick number 186 when they drafted Bobby Jamison-Travis out of Auburn. This is somebody who was at Iowa Western Community College for a few seasons before transferring to Auburn. Played there 2023, 2024, and 2025. Had collectively less than 800 snaps at the Power 5 level at Auburn. But I'll tell you, man, this guy is a rock solid run defender. Doesn't offer much as a pass rusher, although you watch the Mizzo game from 2025. He had some surprising reps, but this is somebody who does not get uprooted on the line of scrimmage. He can absorb double teams. He is 6'4" plus with 34 plus inch arms, 335 pounds at his pro day, was 328 at the combine. And yeah, he only had 19 pressures across his 3 seasons at Auburn. But this player is going to have a role on the New York Giants in a rotation that is looking to keep players fresh rather than rely 90% snap shares on players like Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams, who are no longer here. So let's remember the name Bobby Jamison-Travis. I think he is somebody who can earn snaps as early as year 1 for the New York Giants. And with that, let's get into the tape. Show me lightning quick hands. Oh, I absolutely love to see that. This is Bobby Jamison-Travis right here on that one tech, 2-eye type of position, and he's going to shoot into the opposite A. Look at those quick hands, forward lean, drive through the running back. Devastating run defending reps that this player has, and he shows some range as well, as we see here against Missouri, where he is starting as the front side one. So he's in the front side A gap, but he's going to be able to work over to that front side B through the center's block and make this tackle, at least help make this tackle. So he has some range. This isn't somebody who is the most fleet of foot. He's not the quickest athlete, but he is stout. He is a fire hydrant on the line of scrimmage, and he has enough suddenness, and I would say enough football IQ, more so than probably suddenness, to understand where the offensive lineman is going and then penetrate based off the offensive lineman's movement. You can see right here, takes that step off that inside foot, squeezes in, and that's where the strength comes in. Because he has upper body strength, he has lower body strength. He's a strong player, and he can penetrate enough in the run game to make these splash plays. And then it's the eating of the double teams that you're seeing right here. I absolutely adore this, man. One technique, fields 2, wide base. Look at these feet dug into the ground right there. Feet dug into the deck, and he's going to explode. And watch how he figures out a way to get through the hole or press the hole and then not allow, this is a little savvy move that might get called, not allow this offensive guard to climb by holding on to him just like that long enough to allow Zero to help out as well. This is the type of player who is going to fortify your rushing attack, who is going to be a wall up front, and who is not going to get pushed around all that much. For a 6th-round pick, this is something that you typically don't see all the time. Did not see him get moved that much on tape, I'll tell you that much. Getting limited pass rushing profile. But you see more plays like this than you do him getting moved on the line of scrimmage, or at least he's just eating space, right? And then the hustle is through the roof, as you're seeing right here. Like, look, he engages, presents his numbers into a gap that, the zone read, you can see at this moment, the quarterback looks, makes eye contact, like, no, screw that. We are not going to be giving the football off. Don't want that. Let's tuck it, run, follow the lead blocker. And then he's able to still get it on the tackle because of the hustle. So elite hustle, competitive toughness shines through. Here again, press the guard, shoot the B, force a jump to the C, tackle for a loss. I watched Alabama, I watched Georgia, I watched Missouri, and I think one other game too. Plays like this, though, show the range that I was talking about a little bit earlier. This is not a rangy defender per se, but he can range over a gap or two. You can have this player 2-gap. He's strong enough to do that with sufficient athletic ability to cover across gaps. You're seeing a lot of run defense plays here where it's just like, wow, this guy really showed up a bunch. I mean, he had 29 tackles last season and 22 stops. He only had 32 stops throughout his career, at Auburn at least, but 22 of them came in 2025. And he gets that good jolt and that good push at the point of attack. And these are the types of plays I love, man, that show the football IQ, the ability, the ability to keep your hips low, right? He has that. Watch, fire off the ball. So his response. So let's talk about his alignment, right? So you're on your three technique here. Offset running back to this side. Engage. Everything's tight, right? Tight hands, tight elbows. Eyes are going to be flashing in the A gap. And then the hip, that backside hip and that leg, they're going to be in the B gap. So he can play both of these gaps at this point. He's putting himself in a position to do that while this linebacker is getting picked up by 56. So he's in an optimal position with his hands tight and control of 71's chest. And then watch how he sits back. Look how low his hips are. That is the thing I really appreciate about this player. He can get his hips very low. He's a very flexible athlete for somebody of his size. And usually you don't see players of his size be able to sink their hips like Bobby Jamison-Travis, especially ones who are around in the sixth round. Then once 26 says, I can't go into this A gap because there's too much traffic here. And then you also have the eyes here. Watch how he just rips over with that upper body strength, brings that inside arm over the top, then presents himself right into the B gap. He's effectively against Alabama, mind you, two gapping right here. This is not stuff you find too much on day three. This is a role that can translate to the NFL if he can hold up at the point of attack, and there's nothing in his college tape that suggests that he can't do that. Again, this is another great rep to illuminate exactly what I'm talking about. Fire off the line, get the guard. Wide base, feet are dug into the deck right there. And then look at that extension. Look at the eyes that he's getting right onto the backfield to see what Ty Simpson and the running back are doing. And then he's going to resync those hips and he's going to drive. He's going to keep those feet driving. Then he's going to restrict the space and push the guard right back into the rushing lane. That is on the backside of where the center was. Like, that's just a great, fundamentally sound, strong rep. All things the New York Giants should be looking for right now when they're trying to rebuild this defensive line without Dexter Lawrence. Yeah, Oklahoma was the other game that I watched. So I had 4 games watched of him. You see some pass rush. Here, you just see push and then the hustle. The hustle is what I really love about this kid. Can't be taught. He's always running around. And that can really come in handy when you are a pass rusher, especially when you're surrounded by talented guys like Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Arvell Reese, and Kayvon Thibodeau. But look at that fight through another double team from a good school in Oklahoma. And here, like, you see how he goes in kind of high, but he's able to kind of just resync those hips just a little bit, get those feet under, keep them moving. You see that little moment right here where he's engaged in the double team, and then watch how he resyncs. You see just that. It's not a lot, right? But that gives him better leverage and puts him in an optimal position. Also gets helped out by the fact that the center steps on his guard. But this is stuff that's coming up a lot throughout his tape. It's not just happenstance that some of this is happening. Here's a lucky rep where the guard and the tackle both make a miscommunication, and then he takes advantage of it, which is something he also does because I consider him a high football IQ player. Here, just set up. He's the backside. Doesn't have to do much because the mesh point gets messed up, but I just like how he sets up on the backside. He sees that it's a pull. He feels the center step down towards him, and he sees the guard and the tackle, GT. It's going to be a GT counter run that gets messed up, or GT counter read. But look how he is set up right here to where if this was a pull by the quarterback, he's running right into our guy right here. Not going to work. My artwork sucks, by the way. Don't judge me. And also that 24 just runs right at the mesh point, which was very wise. Ends up being a fumble recovered. But great execution for his role there by Bobby Jamison-Travis. Here's just more push at the point of attack, low hips, extension inside, control of the chest. And this is going to be a counter anyways, but you see how there's enough push there to force the rush from the running back to even go a little bit more wide to spill it outside. He had somewhat of an effect on that. Here's more control at the point of attack. He's over the center. He's a true nose, feels the guard step, and then right at the snap, he understands the structure of his defense that the center might climb. He sees the guard step, gets hands on the guard, controls, restricts the A, knowing that it's a linebacker against a center. That's a mismatch. So watch how he restricts that A. Eyes inside, restrict the A gap. Absolutely love that, but also has his hands ready to pounce to get to that backside B gap, just like he did. Like, boom, love that so much. Control, A, no, B. I'm going to gap and a half. I'm going to 2 gap. And I was drafted at 186 in this draft. That's why this could be like a gem in the draft. And again, he's not going to be somebody who might get all the statistics. I don't think that's necessarily in his profile. But making plays like this is going to allow the other uber talented players on the New York Giants to come away with TFLs, stops. Again, watch how he fires off in the hips, low, controlled feet, controlled hands, eyes on the running back in the A, then cone to the B, collapse, allow rally tackle. And now we'll get some pass rushing reps. You may be surprised because look, it's not a expansive pass rushing profile. He's not the most sudden, but he has some heavy hands and he's strong. So he has that going for him. And he's smart too. So like on a play like this, he's the 4-eye. Or you 3 technique if you want, but he's gonna go and attack the center and watch club swim. And he just splits. Guard is just a little bit late. That's an incomplete pass that he forced. That was based on good hand usage. Here, feels the leverage of the guard seat or the center, sees him out of position, collapses in. Ends up being an incomplete pass. So he's getting pressure here. These are like all of the pressures basically that he had this season because he only had 8 this past season and 9 in the previous season. But you see the power in his hands there. And I also like just a little control here. He's firing off from a 4-eye spot, the inside shade of the tackle. Looks like he's going through the inside shoulder. And then you see how he makes contact with the outside shoulder of the guard. Just pushes himself off. Ends up being a catch, but still a good pass rushing rep. Here he understands that the quarterback's going to be running, and then he hustles him down the line of scrimmage. You want a guy who hustles, you're getting somebody. You're getting somebody who's smart, tough, and dependable. The Joe Shane mantra. Good push at the point of attack. Acts as a quarterback spy, at least in the interior, to allow everybody else to flow out. He has that type of control, that type of discernment. Understands what he sees enough. And here's him as a looper. Almost gets the player, but falls out. But I just think it's impressive to see a player who's 335 pounds loop like this from this part of the field. Opposite 3 technique is going to go all the way around to the C gap on the backside. And it doesn't contain, but you saw it's a pretty fluid move for a player like that. And one more time, I'll watch this. Quick, hands, shed, tackle, boom, love that. And that's Bobby Jamison-Travis right there. The guy missed 1 tackle this last year. And he is somebody you could put on the line of scrimmage, double teams. He's going to eat them up. He does a good job holding the combo climb. He's a savvy overall player and somebody who started out at a community college, a JUCO transfer, goes to Auburn and plays a minimal role in a deep defensive line rotation. Wasn't heavily regarded. Dane Brugler had him as a UDFA and everything. But I think he's going to earn a roster spot and earn a role on the Giants in year 1. If he can be this sound against the run, again, you're making a big jump from the college level to the NFL level, but you just don't see him get moved all that often on the line of scrimmage. It doesn't happen. He eats double teams. He does well against those base blocks. He sheds relatively well. And at the very least, he's a space eater, right? He'll sit there and he's not going to get moved all that much on the line of scrimmage. And maybe sometimes he's stuck. He's stalemating him and he doesn't allow the running back to come into his area. Like that's a valuable trait to have, to just not get pushed around all that much. So getting a player like this, Bobby Jamison-Travis, I pick 186 in the 6th round, especially with the dearth of talent, proven talent that the Giants have right now in their defensive line room. I think that's a good solid pick right there. Like that's a value pick. Might not be a complete player just yet, but somebody who I think has a high floor who could contribute in year 1. So I'm excited to see what happens with him in training camp. Giants are going to sign some defensive linemen as they should. You can't just rely on a player like this who's still a 6th round pick. So let's, keep our heads on about him. But he has good tape. He has fun tape for a defensive lineman. He does, especially for early down, 2-down run stuffer. All right, guys, I'm Nick Filato signing off. Take care of each other and have a blessed, beautiful day.